Did Dwight Schrute commit a civil battery against Meredith Palmer by trapping a wild bat against her head in a plastic bag? To find out, watch this trial and you decide. This is TLDR, Too Long Didn't Read, where normally I cover New York Court of Appeals cases and I try to do it in 5 minutes or less, but this is something different. This is part of a limited series I'm doing focused on litigation. As a litigator and a huge fan of The Office, I used to watch that show and wince at all the different things that would really wind up in a courtroom and imagine how they'd play out. That's what this series is about. It's about playing out in a litigation courtroom style the scenarios from The Office and letting you be the jury decide who wins and loses. Enjoy. This is the episode on the case of Meredith Palmer versus Dwight Schrute on the civil claim of battery. The attorney for Meredith Palmer is Alexander Gilbert, Esquire. The attorney for Dwight Schrute on the defense is Alexander Gilbert, Esquire. A link to their contact information will be linked in the description. As always, both sides will present their opening statements, followed by the evidence they select from the episode. In this case, it's business school, and then followed by closing arguments, with the plaintiff having the burden going last. Then you'll hear the jury instructions, and you will decide who prevails. Let's go. Plaintiff opening statement. Get off me, get off me, get off me, get off me. These are the words screamed by one employee of a company to the other as she was attacked by him. This is a case about one employee of a company, Dwight Schrute, attacking another employee, Meredith Palmer, committing a civil battery against her right here in Scranton, New York. And this is a case you're going to learn that on March 15th of 2024, right here in this county, the defendant in this case, Mr. Schrute, attacked Meredith Palmer right in the office where they both worked. And how can I be so sure of not only what happened that day, and how will you be so sure about what happened that day, and not just what happened, but even the words that came out of Meredith Palmer's mouth, the repeated get off me's? Because it happens that a camera crew, a documentary crew, was recording a documentary at that very branch of the Dunder Mifflin Paper Company in Scranton, New York. And cameras were recording every single second of what happened. And that's why not only will you learn what happened, but you will see that on that day, a bat, a wild bat, was discovered in the ceiling tile of the main office. You will see as Mr. Schrute learned about that bat, and you will see that Mr. Schrute learned that the acting manager for that day called animal control, who would come and recover that bat in a safe, professional way at 6 p.m. You will see as Dwight Schrute contacted another employee and discussed the casual use of immediate violence with respect to that bat. You will see that Mr. Schrute learned that Meredith Palmer, at approximately 5:40 p.m., was in the women's bathroom near where the bat was. You will see that instead of waiting for animal control to come and safely remove that bat, Mr. Schrute prepared weapons, a stake, a sharpened spear, a plastic bag, and attacked the bat right where Miss Palmer was, capturing the bat against Miss Palmer's head with the plastic bag. And you will hear Miss Palmer say to Dwight, get off me, over and over and over. And instead, what you will not hear Mr. Schrute say is, I'm sorry, or of course I'll let you go. What you will hear him say is, hold still, woman, as she continued to plead, get off me, get off me. You will hear those screams and you will not be able to unhear them. At the close of this case, after you see all the evidence in this matter, I'm going to come back to you and I'm going to ask you to deliver a verdict consistent with the evidence and with the law, holding Mr. Schrute responsible and liable for committing that civil battery, that unwanted bodily contact with Meredith Palmer. And I'm going to do that by asking you to hold him liable for committing that battery, for making her say over and over again, get off me. Thank you. Defense opening statement. Dwight Schrute was trying to save Meredith. I'll say that again because I think it's important that you process it. Dwight Schrute was trying to save Meredith. Why? Because what you learn in this case is that, yes, Dwight Schrute did capture the bat in a bag, and Meredith was there and did have unwanted contact with the bat. But Dwight was not there to attack Meredith. He was trying to save her from the danger that was this bat. The evidence will show that Dwight was justified in his mind and in reality in having the contact with Meredith that resulted. He knew that the bat was in the office. He was there when the bat came out of the ceiling. But more than that, and what you didn't hear from the plaintiff in this case, is that the second in command of the office, the assistant regional manager, Jim Halpert, told Dwight that the bat bit him. Dwight, in his mind, was aware not only that there was a bat in the office, but that the bat posed a risk to the people that he worked with. The bat was not peaceful. You will learn that Dwight knew the bat to be a danger to himself and others. That is why you will see that Dwight tried again and again, both in his own attempts and in recruiting others to help him, to capture the bat and reduce the risk to the office. In fact, you will hear that at one point, another colleague, Kevin, helped trap the bat in the break room, at which point Kevin announced to the office, "I am a hero." Dwight heard that also. But the important part here is that at a point around, Dwight knew that at 6 p.m. animal control was going to come, but at 5:40 p.m., Meredith Palmer, the plaintiff in this case, was stuck in the women's bathroom. She could not leave because the bat was in the break room blocking her exit. You will learn that Dwight heard her say, "I want to get out," from the bathroom. And Dwight knew that animal control was not going to be there for another 20 minutes. So Dwight put himself in his mind in risk of that bat by entering the break room and single-handedly attempting to capture the bat. And yes, Meredith wandered out of the bathroom and had contact with the bat in the bag. But Dwight, in his mind and in reality, was trying to save his colleague Meredith from that bat. And how do we know that? You will know that he was doing the right thing and trying to do the right thing because, unlike what the plaintiff just said, the last words in that conversation were, they were not "get off." The last words in that conversation you will hear is "you're welcome." Dwight thought he was doing the right thing. He thought he was trying to help. He thought he was justified. And that's why at the close of this case, when I come back before you and review the evidence that you've seen, in my closing, I'm going to ask you to deliver a verdict that's consistent with what Dwight did and what was in his mind and what justification allows. Yes, there was unwanted bodily contact, but it was justified because Dwight was trying to save Meredith. And that's why at the close of this case, I'm going to ask that you deliver a not liable verdict. Thank you. For the evidence in this case, watch Business School, Season 3, Episode 17. Defense closing argument. A fireman responds to a burning house, and they find a person injured on the floor. They may put them in what's called a fireman's carry, where they put them over their shoulders. It's not comfortable, can actually cause further injuries to an already injured person. It puts them higher than the flames or the heat might be. And in fact, it's probably unwanted, uncomfortable bodily contact. But from the bigger perspective, from the perspective of the injured person, it's better than burning in a fire. We wouldn't say that that's a battery. We would say that that's justified contact, even if it's uncomfortable. A soldier may put another soldier who's injured in that same kind of carrying position. A doctor in a restaurant might find someone who's choking, and they'll put their arms around them and squeeze and maybe even break a bone doing what we call a Heimlich maneuver. Now, that might be uncomfortable bodily contact, but it's justified from the perspective of the individual who's being touched. It's better the injury, even the broken rib, than dying of choking. That's who Dwight thought he was. That is what Dwight was doing on the day when he tried to save Meredith. Remember that Dwight believed that the bat he knew was in the office was a danger to other people. Why? Because as soon as the bat left that ceiling, we saw how Jim told Dwight that the bat landed on Jim and bit Jim in the neck. When that bat comes near a person's body, it bites. That's what Jim told Dwight. That's the information that Dwight had and why he tried so hard. This experienced person who'd been, as we heard, who'd been controlling animals since he's 6. Dwight was not afraid of the animal. He was trying to save the people in his office. And Plaintiff's attorney made a big deal about timing. Think about the timing. I encourage you to review the evidence in this case. Yes, Dwight interceded the bat at 5:40 p.m., 20 minutes before animal control arrived. Why? Why? We now know it's because Meredith was in that bathroom. She wanted to get out. She couldn't get out because the bat was blocking her way. And the timing is important. Watch that video again. Ask for the judge to replay it for you. Dwight goes into the break room and starts yelling at the bat while Meredith is still in the bathroom. He wasn't trying to attack Meredith. He was trying to save Meredith by capturing the bat. And when he left, when Meredith left that bathroom, you saw what happened. Slow it down. Watch that video again. The bat lands on Meredith's head. Just like the doctor who's in the restaurant or the firefighter in the house or the soldier seeing his injured comrade on the ground, Dwight remembered what he knew about this bat. When he comes near someone's head, it bites. That's what Jim told him. It's what Meredith didn't know. Meredith couldn't see the bat landing on her head. That's why she was saying, get off, get off, get off. But Dwight did see it on her head. That's why he grabbed the bat with the bag and got it off her head. And the same way we would expect the grateful person in the restaurant to say thank you to the doctor who saved them, or thank you to the firefighter who saved them, or thank you to the fellow soldier who saved them. Dwight expected Meredith to say thank you, and that's why he said, "You're welcome." Now, ladies and gentlemen, we now know at the end of this case that Dwight believed himself and in fact was justified. He was the hero trying to save Meredith. That's not a battery. That's justified, unwanted contact with the body. We can tell Dwight, thank you, with a not liable verdict here. He's not liable for battery. He tried to save Meredith. Please render him that verdict. Plaintiff's closing argument. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Dwight Schrute is no doctor. He is no firefighter. He is no soldier. Just because Dwight Schrute might have thought he was a hero does not make him one, and the law does not require you to give him that credibility. Listen as the judge instructs you in the law. Listen to whether any ranting and raving by any individual can create a justification for this kind of bodily contact. It does not. Listen as the judge instructs you on what justification and what justified bodily contact actually means. Listen for the words reasonable, whether it's a reasonable belief. The evidence shows in this case that animal control, the professionals of Scranton, New York, whose job it is, who have the training and experience to actually capture a wild bat in an office, they were going to be here at 6 p.m. If Dwight had done nothing, the professionals who know what they're doing would have arrived and properly addressed the situation. He didn't wait till 6 p.m. That's why we're here today. Dwight Schrute didn't wait, and instead, he created a situation that was dangerous. He created the danger here. Meredith was safe in the bathroom. Meredith was not under any threat. Dwight was safe in the main office. Dwight was not under any threat. This concept that Dwight Schrute was there to save the day makes no sense. Listen to the words the judge gives you about whether anyone was in immediate risk of harm when Dwight jumped in to allegedly save the day. Nobody was in immediate risk of harm. Meredith was safe in a different room than the bat. Dwight was safe in a different room than the bat. What happened in the break room when Dwight Schrute entered was he took a bag and trapped a bat against Meredith's head. What would he think would happen? If, as the defense keeps telling us, this was a dangerous bat, what's going to happen to a dangerous bat trapped against someone's head? The person will get hurt. Dwight created that situation. That is the battery. The battery is Dwight trapping an animal against Meredith's head without her consent in an unreasonable way. And it was totally clear to Dwight and to all of you how Meredith felt about it. Get off, get off, get off, get off. Over and over and over and over again. You will hear that for days in your mind, just as Meredith heard it bounce around that break room as she screamed it. Dwight Schrute committed a battery against Meredith. Please hold him liable. Follow the judge's instruction on the law. Think about the evidence and the facts as you find them, and you will deliver the only verdict consistent with the law and the evidence, and that is to hold Dwight Schrute liable for the battery he committed against Meredith. Thank you. Jury instructions.
In this action, Plaintiff Meredith Palmer seeks damages for battery. A person who intentionally touches another person without that person's consent and causes an offensive bodily contact commits a battery and is liable for all damages resulting from his or her act. Intent involves the state of mind with which an act is done. The intent required for battery is intent to cause a bodily contact that a reasonable person would find offensive. An offensive bodily contact is one that is done for the purpose of harming another, or one that offends a reasonable sense of personal dignity, or one that is otherwise wrongful. Plaintiff Meredith Palmer claims that defendant Dwight Schrute placed a plastic bag containing a wild bat over her head without her consent, causing Meredith Palmer to sustain injuries. Dwight Schrute admits that he placed a plastic bag containing a wild bat over Meredith Palmer's head, but says that he did not do so intentionally or it was not offensive. If you find that Dwight Schrute intentionally placed a plastic bag containing a wild bat over Meredith Palmer's head, and that contact was offensive, you will find that Dwight Schrute committed a battery. If you find that Dwight Schrute did not intentionally place a plastic bag containing a wild bat over Meredith Palmer's head, or that, although he did intentionally place a plastic bag containing a wild bat over Meredith Palmer's head, that such contact was unoffensive, you will find that Dwight Schrute did not commit a battery. However, Dwight Schrute claims that he was acting in self-defense and therefore is not liable for any damages to Meredith Palmer. Dwight Schrute has the burden of establishing self-defense or defense of others by a fair preponderance of the credible evidence, as I have defined that term for you. In order to establish self-defense or defense of others, Dwight Schrute must establish that he reasonably believed that the bat was attacking or about to attack him or another person, and that the force that Dwight Schrute used to prevent injury to himself or others was reasonable under the circumstances. If you find that Dwight Schrute had a reasonable belief that he or others were facing a physical attack from the bat, and that the force that Dwight Schrute used was reasonable under the circumstances, you will find that Dwight Schrute was acting in self-defense and is not liable for battery. If you find that Dwight Schrute did not have a reasonable belief that he was facing a physical attack from the bat, or that even though he did, the force that he used was not reasonable under the circumstances, you will find that Dwight Schrute was not acting in self-defense or defense of others, and therefore is liable for battery. That concludes my instructions on the law. Now go forth and deliberate, arriving at a just verdict consistent with your duty, the facts, and the law.